Jericho and Aaron, Coffee with the Summerland kids. Welcome, guys. Good morning. It's Monday, and here we are.
Good morning, Jericho. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, sir. Yeah, I had a good, productive weekend. Sounds like we both got some work around the house. Both Aaron and I are blessed homeowners on my end. It was thanks to Mom. She made a good investment out in Colorado years ago and has a nice cabin in a barn. And I've been out there since 2020 when COVID hit. I just kind of instinctually jumped out to the cabin, and Aaron's in. Would you call it Central California where you're at, or not, or what do you call it?
That's where I was. I'm in Northern California nowadays.
Northern California, gold country.
Up in the gold country. I'm right in between the Mother Lode and the northern gold fields.
That's amazing. Is there still some active gold mining going on, or is it kind of just what's the deal there?
There, I think, is one big gold mine operating still out of Yuba City.
Okay, Yuba City. Okay.
And then there's lots of little ones and lots of prospectors and private mines and claims and clubs and.
Interesting. That's cool. A lot of people like picking up the ball from their fathers and grandfathers or something on the hunt, and it's like old fashioned man stuff.
Oh yeah, it's a trip. I know a guy, I call him Miner Mike. He was telling me how his whole life he grew up and that's all his dad did.
Wow.
His dad would spend the summer hitting 3 or 4 different spots, spend the winter processing and refining.
Interesting.
And that was his money for the year.
Wow. Yeah. Sort of like fishing, I guess. It's like, some seasons are amazing, some seasons are okay. I guess that's probably how it goes.
Yeah, it's pretty neat because placer gold comes and gets washed in.
Okay.
So on years you have heavy rain, it fills up your spots. It's almost like even if there's light rain, the spots will fill up. But
wow,
the river gold fills up like every year.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got a good couple spots, a couple of honey holes, you can do all right.
Classic. That's amazing. That's cool. And you just being in the area, you kind of picked up on it right away. As to what was up, because down in where you went to junior high school, where was that again?
San Luis Obispo.
That wasn't so much the deal down there, right?
No, there are spots.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no,
not so much. Yeah.
And it's weird because the town I'm in, Orville, they built the whole town. So the whole town is along the Feather River, and they would hydro mine.
Oh wow.
It. So they would just take giant hoses and wash down the old riverbanks.
Huh.
And then so someone decided to build the town on the other side of the bank so that they wouldn't mine it.
Oh wow.
So a big portion of Orville is, it's funny because I'll always tell people that I meet, oh, gold, where's the gold? And this one guy was telling me that he was doing some construction and took a pan of dirt and just right out from his yard and found some flakes of gold in one pan of dirt. So that means there's gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dam is kind of like, is it nearby where you live? I mean, how long does it take you to drive to the dam? Or is it?
It's maybe 2 miles.
Okay. And then is it called Lake Orville? Or what's it?
I think it's called Orville Lake.
Okay. Yeah. And
it might be Lake Orville.
It's pretty darn big, right?
It's very big.
Wow. A friend of mine was up there working, and he was above the water, and he could see down and see the lake from his perspective. And but the fire that you guys had up in that area, he had to evacuate, and he didn't personally recover, he kind of like, this is, I think, maybe during COVID. I think was it around 2020 when that fire happened? Do you remember?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was like maybe 6 or 8 years
Okay.
ago, Paradise, and
Yeah.
then Yankee Hill side, and then the Concow
Wow.
side, and then the
Jeez.
Bald Rock area.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years in a row. Like I was up there one year, and the area we were in had been burned out like a year or two
Mhm.
before, and there were some lightning storms, and there were some fires.
Okay. And that's what made that major fire happen, right? It was lightning. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. And that was before you got your house.
Yeah, I just got my house last
Okay.
year.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome, bro. I love what you got going there with the garage and this, what's it? Detached garage. Is that what you call it? Detached garage?
Yeah, it's a detached
Yeah,
garage, so it's
that's
about
awesome. That's such a bonus. You know, we had a neighborhood meeting yesterday with, I'm up, on a dirt road, and the neighbors mentioned the old guy Earl who owned our land, and he took care of the road. He had a big tractor and stuff. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that, but just the classic neighborhood country style.
no, you kind of gotta, especially in the country, you start, community.
Community.
I mean, we're doing this social thing. We're on here because we haven't talked in 40
Yeah.
years, and we're socializing. We're
Yeah.
humans. Humans socialize.
Exactly.
Humans develop
For
communities,
sure.
and communities work
Yeah,
together.
exactly. And as much as I kind of got, we got to throw in a couple $100 for the annual road maintenance. All the neighbors, at least a good portion of the neighbors, are participating, and a lot of them have tractors. It's a 1 mile stretch from the post office, from the little mailbox cluster to our cabin, and a bunch of there's probably at least, I mean, there's 30 mailboxes or something like that. So you got to imagine there's at least 25 tenants up our road or something. So it's enough folks to get together, and it's cool. They're all good people for sure.
Oh yeah, it's kind of you gotta figure. I'm looking at a couple yards of road base gravel to kind of put out the
Uh huh.
driveway and put out the front drive,
Nice.
and that's a couple hundred
Right.
bucks. But that's only maybe an 8 foot wide by a block length, I guess, if I were to spread it
Okay.
out an inch
Yeah.
thick. So when you're talking a mile, you're going to need a couple thousand
Yeah.
dollars worth of gravel every year, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
No, that's what they're doing. They get this stuff. It's like recycled asphalt or something, and they've had semi success about, a dump truck comes with that stuff and dumps it out real slow in a line, and just to create a little, almost like, the idea is that it'll be a smoother asphalt, semi asphaltish situation instead of a dirt road. But they kind of admittedly say we're just kind of like, we're not really tooled up properly to do the job, but they do their best with what they can with their small little tractors they have on their farms and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I know the property that I might be partnering with, they got a couple people with tractors, and they'll come through and fill in the dirt, and then every now and then I think they do pitch in to get a big truck to, like you're saying, dump gravel, and then they come with their tractors and smooth it out kind of.
Yeah, this year they're getting a steamroller, or a heavy duty roller, and one of the guys is an old road worker guy, so he said he'll operate the roller, so that way they can smash that stuff down.
No, it makes a
It does.
difference. I'm doing this garage conversion, not really garage, but not really conversion,
Yeah.
but redoing the floors. Plan on putting some insulation in. Eventually, I'll get electricity and water, and permit
Right.
it, hopefully into an ADU.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I'm happy having a garage. I've always hung out in the garage.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, when I lived in Aaron and I both are from Summerland, California originally. Aaron was born and raised there, myself included. Aaron was actually born in a little house in Summerland, which is freaking awesome. And so, anyways, we went to Summerland Elementary School, and we've been catching up online and sharing our videos here, and just enjoying our company. And as Aaron was saying, on the social side of things, um, I'm up in the country, and Aaron's as well, I would say, in the country too. So, anyways,
I'm not quite as far as you are,
yeah,
um, but it's definitely got a country vibe. I mean, there's a Walmart in
okay. There's
town,
a Walmart here. Yep.
and there's a couple grocery stores, and I'm kind of in town, but within a couple miles from where I'm at, you start getting the ranch size houses. You go a couple more miles, and you're getting more larger and larger expanses of undeveloped,
Yeah, that's cool.
which is
That's
nice.
awesome. Yes, Summerland, our hometown. I was there till I think 2004, the beginning of '04 is 2004. That's when I moved to Los Angeles, and I was 34 years old. And looking back at the pictures of myself, going like, I was a baby. At 34, I still look like I'm freaking 21 or something, at least in my eyes. So,
That's funny because I always thought, okay, going through high school, I'm 6'4".
wow,
I've got a full mustache and goatee. I look older than the college
right? That's
kids,
amazing.
and I hate that same look and that same kind of age, that 25
Right,
look, until I was close to 40
right,
before I really started noticing. Oh, I'm getting gray. I
right. Classic.
have the attitude of an old man.
Yeah, yeah. I denied middle agedom or whatever that until I was up 50. I'm 53 now. I'll be 54 this summer in July. So I became a middle ager, official middle ager. Once you turn 50, it's like, okay, there's no denying it. What do you want to go to 110? I mean, look at Clint Eastwood now. The guy's, I think, 93. Um, and it's just amazing. He's still out there. He looks like my grandfather. When you get to be 93, you look like you're 93.
Oh yeah, I mean it's amazing just the whole human
Right?
condition. But it is, because I think back when I was, when we were growing up on the beach, we were invincible.
Absolutely invincible. Yeah.
We're doing things that especially in the 70s growing up,
Yeah.
we're doing things that maybe isn't the safest thing, and you crash and you roll and you get up, and by the time you hit 40 and 50, all these old injuries start poking their head up and saying no, and you're looking at stuff where you used to, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, oh, that's no problem, I'll do all that
Yeah.
stuff, and you look at it and you're like, oh man, maybe I'll hire somebody to do all that lifting.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. I mean, thankfully, I managed to move a bunch of wheelbarrows full of dirt this weekend, but I'm not feeling it right now. I'm not like, oh God, So I'm doing good. Probably the more I do that, the better. Just in terms of working out, I only got like one official day on the mountain this season because we're like half hour from Wolf Creek Ski Resort up here in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and last year, I fell, had a little fall and got knocked out for a second. And that kind of gave me a reality check as to, hey, rethink your program. You could have been dead.
No more double
Yeah,
diamonds,
well,
huh?
I mean, I did do the double diamond again this year on my one day up there, but I was like, that old term, hairball, like, living on the edge, getting up there when the conditions are not powder day. So when it's a little slippier and icier, if you fall, you're kind of jacked. So yeah,
Yeah, that, I mean, You see people, all the videos, and people are hitting the powder and just whoosh whoosh, and they smack, and they're just covered in powder, and they go head deep.
Yeah, exactly.
But those groomed trails, once they're groomed and packed, and you get a couple sunny days and get that kind of layer of ice, and they groom it and pack it again to where there's like maybe a couple inches of powdery stuff, and then below that is almost like solid ice.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's it's a hazardous sport. It can be for sure if you're not. I didn't even realize when that one time I got knocked out. Well, I didn't even know what happened. I just caught an edge, and I was totally unaware of catching an edge, and all of a sudden my friend's handing me back my helmet, and I'm like, what happened? I guess then I realized, man, I don't really remember. I got freaking knocked out. So yeah.
No, I've got a couple stories. It's 15 minutes. We've got our viewer. We've been getting a regular viewer. So awesome. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you.
That's how it always, because sometimes I'll do just trying to get Twitch time, stream time, right? They kind of track how long you stream. And so sometimes I'll just jump on and I'll try and do comedy, right? And comedy, there's some jokes that are funny that anyone could tell that people go, oh, that's funny. But when you're trying to do a comedy performance, there's so much, like, I was talking about earlier, interaction, some socialization is going on with the guy on stage and the audience. And it's hard to go through the routine when there's no feedback.
Right. Yeah.
Because you pause, you have dramatic pause for comedy, a chance to laugh. But if you can't see if anybody's laughing, you don't know whether to follow that comedy line or give them a little bit more time to laugh or go away from that comedy line because maybe you took a pause and no one's laughing.
Wow. Yeah. It's got to be, knowing your routine. That's the big thing, right? Or having a good, concept of what you're about to do, I guess, in terms of like, would it be repetitive, working on your routine? I mean, is that something?
It can be. And it's like, there's a difference between doing comedy and say acting.
Okay, for sure.
Right. Acting, you have your lines. In comedy, a lot of it's storytelling.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And that can change based on the audience.
For sure.
Right. If I'm downtown Hollywood and I've got, say, a rowdy late night crowd versus I'm somewhere in the South.
Right.
So it really is. And you'll see these comedians that I watch, they'll talk about it, be like, oh, I went and did this joke here in this town and it bombed.
Right.
But I went to this town and they got it.
Yeah.
Because, whatever culture and stuff. But it's just been kind of fun because I've been popping on, just trying to get some hours and get comfortable. And basically talking to myself, Jericho, is fucking hilarious. There's no audience. There's no text chat. It's just me, kind of trying to get time in, get comfortable, and just relax and let myself, my comedy, my true funny guy self, because I've been that way my whole life.
Awesome. Debbie, have you heard of Bill Hicks, the comedian Bill Hicks?
I think so. I'm not good with names until I watch like 3 or 4 of their specials.
Yeah, he's passed on, but he was an amazing comedian, and he talked of, I think, different audiences, and he would kind of like fuel his own comedy fire by using the audience interaction and situations and locations to play into his routine.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like, the funniest thing in my life is my life.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's the stories, anyone could tell a story. You could say, oh, and I hit my head and I got a concussion. Or you could spin it and say, man, and I was booking down the thing and caught an edge and did a triple backflip and landed with my head buried in the sand like an ostrich.
Right. Yeah.
Now that's funnier.
Right.
And then you could add these funny voices and
sound effects,
dramatic pauses, stuff like that. It's a fun
Right.
art.
No, for sure. It's awesome to see that both of us tapped into our creative um, sensibilities, through our lifetime, and it's cool to hear that you had that experience and are still like actively writing your poetry, and you're working on your comedy, and doing this even is like, to me, it's a statement, and I personally really enjoy what we're doing here, just because it gets me up and gets me dressed and gets me, on point, ready to roll,
No, it is. It's almost like an accountability.
for
Like I
sure.
used to do accountability partnerships where they'd say, "Oh, did you get that? What you told me last week done?"
Oh, right. That, yeah.
And or have you come up with a solution for this? Or have you made a decision on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Holding you accountable. And I'm finding the same thing. Like just knowing, hey, Monday morning I get a call from
Yeah.
Jericho, and it didn't even matter at first that we were doing the podcast. It was just, hey, get up. I know Monday through Friday, I got to track. I've been retired for 20
Yeah.
years.
That's amazing, man.
And so I got into this weird kind of spiritual level or a weird little level where I quit tracking days.
That's amazing.
I, I would only eat, like if I'm hungry, I'll eat. It's not, I didn't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner planned out, anything like that.
That's cool. I mean, it does, being away from the norm schedule, you fall into I feel like a true creative mindset, ideally, and I think you're definitely fully there, in that realm, which
Yeah.
is a good place to be, as what you're up to, your writing, your poetry, your interaction with the online community, all that's like super cool.
Well, yeah. And it used to be where, okay, I'd get the itch. Oh, I'm going to sit down and write. And so I do some writing. But doing these calls and this podcast, it got me thinking, well, gosh, how long does it really take to write a poem?
Yeah.
And it sometimes can take a little bit to get the creativity going.
Yeah.
But if I do that every morning and take the 10 or 15 minutes it takes to get my mind saying, okay, let me just write a poem and write that poem, it's almost like it starts the day on the right foot.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
oh, on the weekends when we don't have our
Yeah.
call, I still do the
That's
poems.
good. That's good. You're on a creative, sort of a smooth pattern of like progression, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Where it was before I had the things I wanted to do here, and it's like, okay, if maybe a friend will come by or I'll call somebody and they'll want to come out and we'll do something. And having that consistency of, okay, every Saturday I know one of my guys is going to come over for the whole day, and I want to get this done. So now I'm calling out to the 3 or 4 different people that I've hired before to come help me to get 2 or 3 guys during the week. So now instead of maybe one day, I'm getting at least 3 days of progress every
That's
week.
good. It's huge that you're picking up the ball on the maintenance, and it's sort of like bringing the house back to a place of the original makers that built it. It's like you're just sort of embracing what the original builders did, and maintaining that and keeping it upgrade, slight upgrade, all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the roof was done. Most of the windows are replaced, double
Oh, good.
pane. They had a fresh coat of paint on it. They had a new heater, a new
Oh,
carpet
that's cool.
when I bought it.
Nice.
But little odds and ends, like a couple of the cabinets didn't have handles, so we found some really nice ones, actually, ceramic, all
Oh,
painted,
cool.
and so now the whole thing matches
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, those finishing
with these
touches.
nice handles. Yeah, just the finishing touches. A couple little of the wall plates were the wrong color, so we changed those
Right.
out.
Cool.
Maintain the stuff that needs to be
Yeah,
maintained. Do the upgrades where we
that's
can,
awesome.
because it's a cool old house. And I'm sitting in the garage, and they're 24-inch on center. They're not 16.
Right.
They're they're old 2x4s, 2 inches by 4 inches,
Wow.
not the new ones that are,
Yeah, exactly. It's
one
old
and 3/4.
construction. That's cool.
Yeah, and I've had a couple people say, "Oh yeah, this is one of those good old houses where they had that good
Yeah,
wood."
for sure. That's amazing. It's
And
nice.
the siding are the old cedar or redwood.
Oh, sweet.
Or- So there's actually siding outside of that. So they did like an exterior coat, but like if I could eventually take that off and sand and finish and paint the original,
Wow.
that makes it brings it out,
Yeah.
brings out what is
I
there.
saw that Nancy Russell, she's doing a nice little paint job on her kitchen and stuff. Did you see that?
Yeah, so you put 3
Yeah.
layers, 3 coats. Well, sometimes when you're doing that, you're changing
Right.
colors. You got to do multiple coats.
Yeah. It's cool that it's cool to see our classmates. Someone did say, because in our sixth grade class there was 4 sixth graders, and Stephanie is MIA, but and Mary, someone said they Mary Bowman, they communicate with Mary. So but in Mary, I think Mary had a brother too, but I can't recall. He may have been older, but we've been slowly piecing together the puzzle of our youth, of who went where and what happened and all that good stuff. And there's a handful of characters that have stayed in Summerland, which is awesome, because it's like, why leave paradise? A lot of people from Santa Barbara didn't leave. I think they're actually very intelligent to just stay put, because hey, it doesn't really get much better than Santa Barbara if you can pull it off.
That's it really is the Central Coast in all
All
in
in
all.
all, absolutely.
The whole, I mean, I emanate out of Summerland, which is probably one of the smallest, beachiest towns
Absolutely.
in the whole entire Central
Yeah.
Coast. I think it's somewhere close to the middle of the Central
Right.
Coast. But that's my life's goal now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, having a house, I love it. I haven't been a homeowner. Well, I've had a couple modular homes and trailer
Okay.
parks, but I mean, a home that's built with wood and concrete on a foundation, a permanent home since the 90s.
Yeah.
I've been a renter since I sold my house, or living in one of these modulars. And I'm up in the mountains now and I love it. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but that's my life's goal, is to get back to the coast. My life, if I had $1 million, I would go look for a house in Summerland
Yeah, for
to
sure.
buy.
I know, even a train wreck, fixer upper. But I know that even those, it's like you said, it takes $1 million. At some point, maybe you and I will share. We'll have to look up and do our research and share what our original home values are now. Where your place was the old Stacky Seaside, but it was a regular house before it was a business, but it was right on essentially Main Street, Summerland, and your place.
And I think it was a business before it was a
Oh
house.
wow, a long time ago, before you guys moved, it was a business back then.
Before we moved in,
Yeah.
because the house, the front of it had a big, a billboard kind of front top part, like real old schooly
Yeah.
looking.
Wow.
I mean, it's still got the structure and the covered porch area. I think it was at one time, just the structure of it. It looks like an old West, a Western town
I
saloon
know.
or a
Yeah, it
Western
does.
town.
Now that I recall, you're right. It does look like that. Um, yeah, just it's cool to It must have been pretty interesting being right on the main street of the little town back then. I mean, you go out your front door and you're right across the street is a little supermarket, the hamburger stand. Down the street, take a left, you're at the beach. So
Yeah, it was, and it was like, but the way the property was with the landscaping, I guess it felt kind of
oh
private.
yeah,
Because there's a big tree in the
uh-huh.
front on the side yard, which once you got into the backyard, it kind of went down a little bit. So you were in your own little spot.
Yeah, it's like a little backyard sanctuary. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we're Coffee with the Summerland Kids. This is Jericho and Aaron. We just been enjoying our conversation, drinking coffee, catching up, and thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, and I am going to start posting a join link,
Okay,
and
cool.
I'll try and do it a little bit
Yeah.
earlier, so that you can like share it out. And once people kind of see, they see we're doing it every day. They see, oh, now they got a jump in link where I could maybe jump in and talk to these fools.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. This is an
so I'll
easy.
start doing that. We are at the 30-minute
Yeah, we're
mark,
here.
so we made it.
Absolutely. So cheers to a Monday, and being productive outside of our little morning chat.
There, we get a little bit of light coming
Nice.
in. There's my wave goodbye,
Cool.
and we'll see you
Cheers. See you
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Thank you, sir.